good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, I don't know. Well, we are Manuel and Achu. We are the teachers. We are trying to teach how to learn to think. There are some sessions because we are going to try not to be very long and not very heavy. Okay, first of all, as we have here, I think the first question is, can we teach to teach? Because, of course, if you are in this course, you want to teach, but we think it's impossible. The question is, can we learn to teach? Well, can we learn to teach? No, it's not possible, because to teach is not a verb, but is a fundamental verb. I think the question is, can we learn to learn? Yes, of course, we can learn to learn, because human beings are the animals that are first of all prepared to learn. Although we don't want to learn, we learn. Each time we do a thing, we learn what we are doing. So, what can we learn today? We can learn just to think, to improve the way we think in order to improve our way to learn. So, our session today is learning to think. I would like to say that in our modern society, the educational system can be considered as a space-time where people are designed to be something in the world, but they also the system design the way that we think everything, and this is very important. I think this is a critical position, but I think it's the first base we can part from there. But if we think about it, we can say that the school, the system, is also the place where social differences are tagged. We need to tag, we need to put tag, we need to name the things to understand them, and that is very hard, and it is difficult, and it is dangerous. Because at the end, in our society, the school system is responsible for our social structures. It is a system that usually perpetuates inequality through academic judgments that are social judgments. And here is the word we can to introduce now, gift. Gift is an unusual word that certainly you have heard about it lots of times. What is a gift? Gift is something we cannot define it very well, but it's something you have. You don't know why, but you have it. Possible because you were born in some country, from some family, but no, that's not the question. Gift, sometimes people think that gift is a natural quality, a natural challenge. You have to do something, but where does it come from? The concept gift appears in talented students, but we know that personal abilities, aptitudes or qualities are a product, a social product, coming from a lot of years in the school, in the family, in a country. It has nothing to do with nature. So, if I do not have a gift, can I do nothing about it? If I am not a talented girl about drawing, about dancing, about running, what can I do? How can I improve myself? Well, the idea is the gift is not a natural talent. It's a social creation. So we can change it. Because in all of us inherit a cultural capital that has nothing to do with money, not only with material means, but with instruments of knowledge. And it's very important because at the end we inherit the different ways of working, the work techniques, and of course the organization of time. And that's the difference among ones and others. How do we organize the time, the space time? This is the decisive factors of the art of work. So, if my situation depends on social conditions, of course, I can learn and change them. And that is the first point we can run. Well, the next thing we want to speak about is 3 words that are different, but people used to mix them. First is aptitudes, secondly, skills, and finally, abilities. Well, aptitudes are these talents, these gifts, the potential ability that we are going to work in the future. As we have said, it has nothing to do with the nature, but with the social conditions we have inherited for our family, for our school, for our friends, for our collectivity, our city, our country. The second one, skills. Skills has a backward meaning. It is what we have learned. And finally, abilities is the present, is the capacity we have to do something. What is the important? The important equation is that one aptitude plus training is changed into a skill. The skill is the important thing that we are trying today. But it is not also the important skills. Really, the most important is how we do use these skills. There are, of course, 3 domains that are, sorry, I am so quickly, the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor domain. In the past, it seemed that it was only important the first one, the cognitive domain, because it didn't matter the body and nor the affection. So, the cognitive domain, of course, is that domain that involves thinking of all kinds of things. The affective domain includes feelings, emotion, attitudes, values, motivation, behavior, decision, you know. And finally, the psychomotor domain includes physical movement, coordination, motor, and sensory skills. Well, the next question is, how do we use them? And this is the key word in different styles. What is a style? A style, thinking style, is the way we use our skills. And we can differentiate 3 styles that, of course, you are going to have in your mind because are very common words. The legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Legislative, as the title names, are those people who like to make their own rules. Of course, you know a lot of people that they are always creating the way they move in the world. Executive are those that are called implementers. You know, they like to solve their problems, and they are hard working, and they work hard to solve the problems. They enjoy solving the problems. And judicial, the last one, are those people who like to evaluate the rules and judge the situations. They like problems and conflicts in order to analyze their structures, okay? Well, possibly now you are thinking about which is your style. Of course, there is no one style only in each human being. All of them are more or less mixed. But of course, you can recognize your style in one of these 3 situations. Okay.
So now we're going to talk about what is thinking. Thinking is the active process by which we create nodules from nodules. Thinking means several mental operations. First one, cognition. Second one, memory. Third one, convergent production. Fourth one, divergent production. And fifth one, critical thinking. Cognition, because we have to know what we are seeing. Memory, because not only we apprehend information from what we see, but it's the information we have on our heads. Convergent production and divergent productions are the 2 types of human response to a certain problem that is identified. And critical thinking, which we will go on in the last part of this paragraph. Convergent thinking. Convergent thinking is oriented to the best single answer to a clearly defined question. It emphasizes speed, accuracy, and focuses on getting information. Logical, vertical, analytic, you either have a right or wrong answer. This, for example, is a picture which depicts how convergent thinking works. Our brain collects data, facts, and according to those data and facts, it makes an answer, which can be right or wrong. Standard IQ tests measure convergent thinking, logic through flow, pattern recognition. The capacity to solve problems and testing nodules can all be evaluated and graded in this test. Standardized multiple choice questions are also an example of testing convergent thinking, which is the way many schools use to examine their students. One example of such a question would be, who proposed the theory of relativity? Question A, Rutherford. Answer B, Einstein. Answer C, Kepler. Answer D, Max Planck. The majority of school tasks also call for convergent thinking. Meanwhile, divergent thinking develops the ability to draw on ideas from across disciplines and fields to reach a deeper understanding of the world one is placed in. The goal of divergent thinking is to generate many different ideas about a topic in a short period of time. It involves breaking a topic into various component parts in order to gain insight about the various aspects of the topic. Divergent thinking involves fluency, flexibility, and originality, and is essentially concerned with production of large numbers and new ideas. Meanwhile, critical thinking and meta-knowledge. Critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally about what to do or what to believe. It includes the ability to engage in reflective and independent thinking. Critical thinking skills are understanding the logical connections between ideas, identify, construct, and evaluate arguments, detect inconsistencies and common mistakes in reasoning, identify the relevance and importance of ideas, reflect on the justification of one's own beliefs and values. Critical thinking is not a matter of accumulating information. A person with good memory who knows a lot of facts is not necessarily good at critical thinking. A critical thinker is able to deduce consequences from what he knows. He knows how to make use of information to solve problems and to seek relevant sources of information to inform himself. Critical thinking is essential for part of creativity because we need critical thinking to evaluate and improve our newly developed ideas and methods. So, next thing we're talking about is divergent thinking, which is the ability to find as many possible answers to a particular problem, and convergent thinking, which is the ability to find the best single answer to a problem.